We're gonna get...
Hey guys, how y'all doing today? My name is Franchise Fanatic and welcome back to the channel. And today, if you guys, this is another movie review. First and foremost, happy Halloween. Hope you guys have a safe and fun time. I'm going to be dressing up as Shaggy for my placement, and then I'm going to be for school, and then I'm going to be Kylo Ren at night. So maybe you'll see some YouTube shorts. I think that'll be probably better than videos just because of all the homework I have. But yeah, you'll probably see something on YouTube shorts today. But anyway, at least if you're watching this on Halloween. But anyway, we're taking a bit of a break from the MCU. Of course, we recently did Moon Knight Season 1, and we're going to be doing Doctor Strange in the Multiverse of Madness, and then again, we're going to take a bit of a break to do The Evil Dead. And of course, yeah, sadly, no Halloween edit or tribute or whatever, but yeah, we're reviewing a movie. I know, I got a butt ton of homework, so sorry, but yeah, this is The Evil Dead 1. Now, this released in 1980, I believe 81? There's no 82, 83, and yeah. So this is this film on DVD, right? I don't have it on Blu-ray. I did that for a reason. But The Evil Dead 1 is kind of. Well, it did. It kickstarted my love for horror, basically. You know, before this, I knew about horror, but, you know, as a kid, I wasn't really allowed to watch them because, you know, 9 times out of 10 they're R-rated, extremely gory, or scary. And then, you know, I was like, okay, Scream is okay, and Echo Killshot got me to Scream, so that's cool. And Scream is also an amazing franchise, one of the best franchises, I think, ever. But, you know, The Evil Dead is really kind of where my love for horror kind of, you know, started to bleed through. And I'm not just going to be biased and say, oh, it's great because it started me on horror, you know, but it genuinely is a great film. Now, yeah, look, this is Sam Raimi's first film. Of course, Sam Raimi did Evil Dead, obviously. He did Drag Me to Hell, which apparently is canonical to Evil Dead, which is cool. I still got to see that. That'll probably be part of the review. Hopefully I get it for birthday. And then, of course, he did, obviously, the Spider-Man trilogy with Tobey Maguire, Doctor Strange Multiverse of Madness, which we're going to be covering soon. And then, you know, just some other fun stuff, Oz the Great and Powerful, things like that. But, you know, Evil Dead 1, The Evil Dead, I'm still trying not to die, is basically where you kind of saw his style bleed through, right? I mean, bleed through. But this is, they say it's the ultimate experience in grueling terror. And yeah, like, you know, for 1980 standard, it's pretty effing terrifying. In today's standard, you know, 1924, 2024, it isn't, you know, shit the bed, oh my god, I can't sleep scary, right? But it's I think the perfect amount of scary and eerie and creepy and gory and pretty much everything you want from Evil Dead and everything you want from pretty much a horror film. They kind of got it pretty much down to a T. You know, I mean, really. You know, Sam Raimi started the Deadites, right? Kind of following you with like the first-person camera point of view through the woods and all that. Obviously, the cabin in the woods is an, you know, insanely easy. You know, all of this is an easy plot, right? It's a bunch of teenagers, young adults in the woods in a cabin, effing things up, reading from the Book of the Dead, and shit goes crazy. Okay, like that it sounds cliche, but it works, right? Like it's somehow magically works. And yeah, look, the effects. Again, it's 80s effects, right? No CGI. They had how much? $375,000. That is, to me, a lot of money, probably for you too. But for movie standards, it's beans. Okay, it's nothing. So it's really crazy that they were able to kind of achieve this level of horror and you know, I guess craziness with such a, you know, tiny budget. And the fact that all of it is so well done really kind of rings true to how Sam Raimi is a director. You know, he's a good director. He obviously, you know, the sound effects are amazing, right? The different noises the Deadites make, almost the zombies, the Deadites make and all that's really crazy there. But, you know, you've also got the music, which is really great. Like certain cues from the music really kind of go, you know, the music and the sound effects and sound design is kind of like a Deadite in and of itself, right? And then you get the editing, which is also really great, really good camera tricks that Sam Raimi does. You know, when Ash and Linda are kind of, I think it's Linda, his girlfriend. No, I'm sorry, I believe it's his sister, Cheryl, maybe? One of them. They're kind of like, oh, Ash, I got raped by trees. I gotta leave. And you know, Ash is like, okay, let's get out of here. And you know, different things like where the shots where you see the bridge kind of collapse, kind of like a claw, or you see, you know, Ash's you know, the necklace he gives to his girlfriend in like the shape of a skull, or just things that are things are cheesy in this movie. I'm not gonna lie and say they're not, right? Some of the acting is cheesy, some of the writing is cheesy, some of the editing and shots are cheesy, right? Like right in the very beginning, they're driving in their Delta, right, their car, and Scotty's driving, and the Deadites or something takes over the steering wheel, and one of the girls, is magically out of the window going like, "Pull over!" and she's screaming. It's very much a quick thing, but it is distinctly Sam Raimi. Like that's his. I guess essence poured out into this, and this is the first time we're seeing it, and it was such a unique thing. I wasn't born in the 80s, but I can imagine it would be pretty cool to see that. I had Deadites in me. There we go. I'm getting possessed, but that's another video. Yeah, it's a very unique thing to get with the editing and all that. And like I said, some of this stuff is pretty cheesy, but I think that is what brings its uniqueness to the centerfold of what this is. You know what I mean? It's I don't even want to say it's like an objective negative because it's cheesy. You know what I mean? Like it's a cheesy thing in a way where it lends itself to the atmosphere of this franchise. That's why I bought it on DVD, because I wanted to try to replicate that old feeling to it. And I think if you got it on like a 4K steelbook or something, when it was like 4K or even 1080p or what, I don't even know the resolution of this DVD, but I mean it's digitally THX mastered, so there you go. But it is nothing special, right? Like, it doesn't look bad. It's not like 280p, but it kind of the resolution of this even kind of lends itself to that. But again, the Deadites, the creature design, the gore is like effing crazy, right? Like this is the only movie I own that is NC-17. That's even worse than R. I mean, in today's standards, this is not that bad, okay? Yeah, it's gory, right? Like there's blood and shit. Like it's not tame, but it's nowhere near as maybe even like Evil Dead 2013 or Evil Dead Rise, or even Ash versus Evil Dead. It's sometimes not even near as that, but it is still creepy and gory and I don't want to say like scary, like I said, where you're not going to sleep, but it gets under your skin. You know what I mean? Like when I turn this off at midnight and I'm all alone in a dark effing room, my parents are upstairs sleeping, and I'm like, are the Deadites gonna get me? You know what I mean? So it is like, I know what happens. Okay, like I love this franchise, but it is eerie in, I believe, just the right ways. You know what I mean? Obviously, this kind of spawned an entire franchise, and really for good reason. Again, the editing for the most part is top tier, right? Sam really kind of gets in your face with these unique and creative shots and creative sound designs. Like the shot where for massive Evil Dead fans like myself, you already know this, but for people that don't, like Sam. The shot where the camera toward the end kind of goes like it starts. I'm gonna do it, but imagine I'm upside down, right? And then the camera kind of slowly goes around, and you see Ash. That's literally Sam just effing hanging from the roof of the cabin, just fucking like doing this. You know what I mean? It's crazy. Again, little things like obviously like when what's his face? I think it's either Scotty or Ash. I think it's Ash. Ash shoots a Deadite, one of the girls, and you see like a blood. Pump or whatever. So, there's some cheesy things. But, again, that all adds to it, which is really great. Again, the story, nothing too hit and miss, nothing too crazy. Ash kind of, goes from this timid, meek style character who really just kind of stands around a lot, just kind of frozen in fear, to, by the end of the film, being basically, he is the only one remaining, right, trying to, fight these Deadites. And then, of course, he has to kind of man up, so to speak, and kill the Deadites, or at least try to. And that's when the Necronomicon shows up, and the blood written, the book written in blood, inked in blood, and bound in human flesh. It's a crazy book. I actually saw the Necronomicon at the exchange for $45. Probably should have grabbed it, but I figured I'd probably unleash an evil hellspawn, and maybe I shouldn't have done that, but whatever, whatever. It'll be fine. But there's a lot of really great stuff in this film, like I said, and this might be even my second review of it, but upon this rewatch, it all still holds up. Like, I know one of my other friends saw it, and he was like, oh, it's really cheesy. And I'm like, yeah, but that's the point. Like, to me, again, you could take that as, oh, the acting is not the greatest, you know what I mean? But this is the only movie I own, again, that not only is NC-17, but it also is a student project. I mean, technically, Sam Raimi and Bruce Campbell and Rob Tappert and other people making this, they dropped out of college to make this. But it feels like a cheesy, low-budget movie, and that's because it is a low-budget movie. They basically had no money, and because of that, that's why this film is so successful. It looks good. It has decent acting for the time. It has decent writing. It has really, really, really good lore and story behind it, and this mythos to this world. The Deadites are creepy, and they do their job right? The stop-motion effects, yeah. it's cheesy, but the stop motion effects literally kind of mess with your brain and make it look otherworldly, and everything could almost be ascribed as like a happy accident, but that's the best part, is that like all this shit that happens in it it's supposed to be there. It's all deliberately thought out with a specific purpose, right? That's what makes it so cool. And obviously, this spawned Evil Dead 2, Army of Darkness, Ash vs. Evil Dead 2013, Evil Dead Rise, and now we're getting an Evil Dead animated show and 2 more movies. So, this is a massive franchise now, which is really great. Now, obviously, the Evil Dead 1 has its flaws. Again, I will admit, some of the acting, especially in the beginning, Scotty, there's certain scenes, obviously the tree rape, that's not a negative, but, that was a controversial thing, where, obviously, I'm not a woman, but I wouldn't probably like to be penetrated by a branch. I don't know. Probably wouldn't like it. But, I think... I'm not a woman, so I don't know, but I imagine women wouldn't want that. So, yeah, it's controversial, right? Like, it's really effed up, but that's the point, right? The Deadites they're demons. They're from hell. They're going to F you up in a lot of weird ways, and I think that one of the best things about this film is that they mess with Ash, right? The reason why these Deadites keep Ash alive is because they just like to F with him. I mean, that's what it is. Like, they like to mentally manipulate this dude instead of just outright killing him. They try to with the other Deadites, but Ash just keeps going and going and going and going. And we'll talk about it with Evil Dead 2, but, in this film, they really kind of like to mess with Ash with his girlfriend, or, they make sure the girl, I don't remember her name, Linda, Cheryl, one of them, his girlfriend, she's got, like, the weird makeup on, and she's just sitting on the floor being like, we're gonna get you, and he's just bitch slapping her, and then like the next shot she's perfectly fine with no makeup, she's crying and she's a human again. And the Deadite, it does that to manipulate Ash and think she's better, so it's a smart demon, and I like that. It gives the demons and the Deadites a personality other than just, oh, I'm gonna kill you because I'm evil. There's a specific thing that they're doing, right? Specific niche that this certain specific book does. And again, as we review this entire series, we'll get into more of the lore, but in terms of this being described, it's a freaking masterpiece. I'm so, like, it is. Like, for what they were able to achieve with such a low budget, it still holds up in 2024. And part of that is, again, Sam Raimi, obviously, right? The shots, the editing, the music, the sound effects, the gore. It all holds up. And I'm not some kind of crazy gore guy that just likes blood. I'm not some psychopath. But that's part of this franchise, right? Like, you kind of have to know that. And obviously, it's all corn syrup and ketchup or whatever they're doing. They're not actually murdering people. So that's really why blood in movies doesn't affect me, because I know it's fake. Until there was that one movie where they actually killed someone, or a turtle or something, and yeah, the guy went in jail. Don't kill people for a fucking movie, okay? Like, if you gotta kill someone, just make it fake. Oh, please make it fake. Don't actually kill people for your art. But I think that it is, it genuinely looks believable. Like, I know, as a Catholic, I don't believe in ghosts. I don't want to say that and then see a ghost at 3 in the morning, so I'm just... If there's any ghosts in this house, just stay invisible. But I do, I guess, believe in demons, right? Because they're in the Bible, right? Like, they're part of my religion. So this is, to me, a little bit more eerie than, say, a ghost face. Just a guy in a costume with a knife, you know what I mean? Or a ghost that is just, oh yeah, I'm a ghost, boo. Like, this shit is... It hits home for me more just because of my religion, but also, take away what I believe in, it also is genuinely creepy, they do their job well. And yes, some of it's a bit cheesy and corny, but I think, like I said in the beginning, it really does add to that overall atmosphere that we're going. And again, I thought I'd kind of end this video with, of course, kind of explaining the lore of Evil Dead, because a lot of people... when I get into a franchise, me personally, I like to know as much as I can about that franchise. I really don't go surface level with anything, so I really did my research on this, and a lot of people on the internet are pretty freaking confused about Evil Dead, so I thought I'd kind of clear the air if you were interested or you didn't know or whatever. So Evil Dead, a lot of people think that this is not canon, and Evil Dead 2 is the really Evil Dead 2 is like Evil Dead 1, and there's like and we'll get to it when I review it, but Evil Dead 2 kind of begins with a little short recap. Like when you watch a show like Ninjago or I don't know, The Acolyte or Falcon and the Winter Soldier, some kind of show where they do like a recap of the last episode. They kind of did that with a recap of this one, but because, and this is where it gets a little confusing, but hear me out. The Evil Dead 1, let me just say the Evil Dead canon, right? It goes this movie, and then Evil Dead 2, and then Evil Dead 3, which is Army of Darkness, and then you got Ash vs. Evil Dead. Okay, that's the one book. The Necronomicon. And then you have Evil Dead 2013, which when that came out, it was a reboot and a remake of this. But it actually isn't a reboot or a remake, right? They deliberately and explicitly confirmed that Evil Dead 2013 is a canonical part of this franchise as well, and it's just simply a different book. So yeah, Evil Dead Rise, same effing thing. All of this, everything Evil Dead, everything, at least movie-wise, and the Ash vs. Evil Dead TV show. I don't know about the comics or the novels. I'm pretty sure that's like another non-canonical universe or whatever. But all the stuff that I'm going to be covering and reviewing is part of the same universe. Drag Me to Hell, which is a Sam Raimi-directed film, is not an Evil Dead movie, right? You don't see Bruce or Ash or Deadites or the Book of the Dead. But, Fede Alvarez, who directed Evil Dead 2013, said on Twitter that Drag Me to Hell and his Evil Dead are in the same canon. And now that Evil Dead 2013 is part of canon of everything else, Drag Me to Hell is officially an Evil Dead film as well, which is really cool. I like that we're getting like a more expanded universe of this franchise, and all thanks to really Evil Dead Rise, which we'll get to. But yeah, again, I really kind of find it confusing where they're like, how come Ash? Why did Ash take another girl to the cabin? What's going on? Did they remake Evil Dead 1? Is Evil Dead 2 a reboot? Like, no. And Bruce Campbell explained it that in an interview that when they were filming Evil Dead 2, they didn't have the rights for this one, the Evil Dead 1. They didn't legally own it. So what they did is they didn't get the other, I think his sister, or they didn't get Scotty or the other person. They just got his girlfriend and him, and that's because they legally couldn't. Like what they legally could do is with the rights that they had is refilm a little catch up, so to speak, of this with X amount of characters and actors. So really, what I kind of do, what I advise you to do, if whenever you watch Evil Dead 2, you don't have to do this, but this is what I would do. I just skip the first 5 minutes, the little intro. I know, I've already seen it, so I know what happens. It's just more confusing than anything. So yeah, like the Evil Dead 1, this movie ends with a Deadite literally attacking Ash, and the camera goes right up to his mouth, right? And then Evil Dead 2 begins with him flying through the air on account of inertia and the effing Deadite hitting him, and he goes flying, right? It's not a remake. It's all literally Evil Dead 1, 2, and Army of Darkness, the third one. They all literally, like, as soon as Evil Dead 1 ends, 2 begins. As soon as 2 ends, 3 begins. So it's all in the same canon. Ash vs. Evil Dead is all in the same. Evil Dead 2013, Rise. I just wanted to kind of tell you guys that, because there are a lot of people, like, swearing, no, this is a reboot. No, trust me. I literally just backed up why. You can go, if you really don't believe me, you can go look it up yourself, but I did a shit ton of research, and I promise you, all of this stuff is in the same continuity, which is really cool, thanks to these different books, and, really what the Necronomicon is good at is manipulating time, space, kind of in a weird way, right? Like you see in this movie, when Ash is in the basement before he sees Henrietta, right? Spoiler alert. You see like a movie projector playing by itself, or like a light bulb filling with blood, or stuff like that. Like weird things that shouldn't be happening. You know what I mean? But they just randomly happen. Like you look and say Evil Dead Rise, right, with like the elevator filling up with blood. That's physically impossible. But because it's the Book of the Dead, it can do that. It's a demon. It just messes with people's minds, and reality and all that. It's really kind of a unique concept that we haven't seen before, and I think the Evil Dead 1 here really kind of, conceived that in a really fun, unique, scary, and pretty crazy way, It is a controversial film. I'm not offended, obviously, because it's a movie, but I don't really get offended by anything, but it is a unique attempt and a very, very good movie, in my opinion. Again, like I said, there's a few cheesy bits here or there, but I really think they did a good job with it, and, we're going to be moving on to Evil Dead 2 next, but I think this is a really strong starting point for an amazing franchise that really, when they made this, they didn't expect this to keep going. It was just like, oh yeah, we made a movie and whoop-de-doo, but now we got all this lore and all these connections and all these, movies connecting to this movie now, and it's all connected in the same canon, right? This is like a little baby brother version or baby sister version of the MCU in terms of the canon stuff, all the multiverse stuff, you know what I mean? That's really kind of a cool thing. And we don't see that a lot in horror films, right? Like you look at Halloween, for example. Halloween 1 and 2, and then the new reboot trilogy or whatever, they're connected, but then you get like the Rob Zombie movies or the H2O or whatever. Those are not even canon. So it's refreshing to see a horror franchise other than Scream kind of have a connected universe and shared universe throughout all these years. And the fact that we're getting 2 movies and an animated show pretty freaking cool, pretty groovy, I must say. But anyway, I really enjoyed The Evil Dead upon rewatch. It is scary and fun in all the right ways, and I can't wait to continue this review with Evil Dead 2. Again, I shared you my thoughts on this and my objective take on the canon, which I thought some of you should know if you wanted to know, or you just didn't know, or whatever. But yeah, it is kind of it's genuinely interesting how many people get that wrong, and I just wanted to kind of lay the groundwork there for that. Maybe it's because I'm going to be a teacher and I wanted to explain that shit. I don't really know. Who cares? You got it anyway. If you didn't know, now you know. Okay, you learned something. Anyway, tell me in the comments down below what you think about The Evil Dead 1. Is your favorite movie The Evil Dead 1, or what's your favorite out of all the movies we've gotten so far? I can't wait to cover Evil Dead 2 next, and then we're going to move on to, of course, Army of Darkness and the show, and Evil Dead 2013 and Rise will obviously be last, some kind of, going in order. But yeah, and I'll probably get Drag Me to Hell in there too. I haven't seen it. I still have to buy it. But now that that's part of Evil Dead, hey, I gotta watch it. You know what I mean? Pretty cool. So anyway, let's talk everything Evil Dead down in the comments. And hey, for a fun game, comment down below how many times I said the words Evil Dead. I'll give you a cookie. Anyway, hope you guys enjoyed. Thank you guys, and we'll see you in the next video.